locutus, a Borg.
Welcome to the racist rabbit hole, part. This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount. You know, the old saying, my people perish because of lack of knowledge, is so true. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. And y'all, the problem with it is people, they believe nonsense because of ignorance. It's that simple. All of this stuff that's taking place right now in this current climate is taking place because they're taking advantage of people's ignorance. They're doing things right up under the table that folks can't see, sniff out, or any of that stuff. They just simply like, well, that sounds good. All it is a little sleight of hand, disinformation, redefining something, packaging it up to sound like it's a good thing, putting it in the context of racism. You know, I mean, who could fight against people who's allegedly fighting against racism? Who could oppose legislation that attacks discrimination, racism, all of that stuff? Now, I'm just saying, if you're ignorant, couldn't it be that they might make it appear to be racist, but it's really not? Therefore, they're using your lack of knowledge to pull a fast one over on you and take control of your life in ways that you don't even see coming. In fact, you give them the green light. In fact, you jump on board with that cause thinking you're fighting for a just cause, only to wake up and realize you've willfully surrendered your sovereignty. Which brings me to a story that Glenn Beck broke. Now this, guys, is deep, because if folks don't know about this, they'll wake up too late and realize, oh, nobody told me they was doing this. Well, that's because you are perishing because of lack of knowledge. So let's get it. Glenn, what's shaking, man? What's shaking bacon?
Everything that they've ever said about, oh, it's a conspiracy theory on the Great Reset, you can throw that in the garbage now, because by their own fruits, by their own actions, you will know them. Did Glenn just go spiritual on us? You'll know the tree by the fruit that it bears? That's true. That is true. Kind of like CNN.
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again. They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not. This is an apple.
This is an apple. And this is a banana. A banana isn't an apple. All of that mess they were talking about, and they're talking about you will know us by the fruit, yet they're telling us it's a banana tree and we're seeing apples, and vice versa. Those Democrats that's been running around saying they're fighting against racism by promoting racism. They're saying they're fighting for the little man while keeping the little man in all types of horrific living conditions, poverty, lack of education, all of that stuff. They produce no fruits. Their tree is butt naked, completely stripped of leaves, bark, everything. Matter of fact, it's just a stump. But yet they're telling us that it's a fruitful tree. That's right. Keep planting these type of trees. Keep relying on these type of trees for fruit to feed you and your family. But yet, year after year, barren. But let's continue.
I have done this job for almost 50 years. I've never seen anything like this. Leaders of over 100 major corporations got together and spoke via Zoom on Saturday about how they could combat election integrity laws similar to the one that was proposed in Georgia.
Now, what that got to do with them? That's what I want to know. Why are all of these corporations all of a sudden concerned about voter integrity laws and election laws, especially the ones that took place down in Atlanta? I thought their job was to sell stuff. I thought the National Baseball League sell tickets clothing, stuff like that, trinkets and things. Yeah, I didn't think that their job was to change the legislation. I didn't think it was their job to determine if a voter election law that was voted on by the people of Georgia is racist or not. I mean, maybe they didn't read the law carefully. Maybe they're part of a bigger agenda because, I'm wondering why are y'all all having this secret private meeting and what are y'all talking about? We better go ahead and take a look because we would hate for them to try to pull a fast one over on us because of ignorance. So let's check it out, see what they really up to. Go ahead, Glenn, enlighten us.
Multiple reports, Wall Street Journal, and others directly quote people that were on the phone call. They talked about potential ways to show how they opposed the legislation, including by halting donations to politicians who support the bills and even delaying investments in states. That's blackmail.
Whoa, did y'all hear that? So these corporations that are hooking up with only the Democrat Party, that's kind of ironic. I thought maybe if they was really that curious about this legislation, they would be talking to the legislators in Georgia. I thought that they might be, bringing in all parties, Democrats and Republicans, if they really want to get to the bottom of this. But for some reason, they have this huddle up, this little secret meeting with only the Democrat Party. And now they're talking about ways to muscle legislators and other businesses into supporting this. Now, what motive, what objective, what benefit do they have in this? Do you think that all of these places, all of these companies and corporations are really concerned about black folks not being able to go and get some water out of a little container or something, maybe like 10 feet away from them? You think they're really saying we're concerned that black people would starve to death by standing in the voter line too long and not having someone physically bring them water and food? We're concerned that these black people that we require to have IDs to get in our baseball games, get on our airplanes, to take out credit cards, all of these big old corporations who require every single person that does business with them to have an ID is now concerned about voter integrity in regards to black people. Do you think that's their motive? If you do, I got some swamp land for you. So let's see if we can get to the real motive.
That pass restrictive measures. What they are calling restrictive measures are actually just going back to the way it was before COVID-19. Remember, we had this unprecedented election, and we had to change these laws. In fact, they couldn't even go through the legislative branch. They just had to be done many times by executive order. And the states changed their laws to make it easier for people to vote because of COVID.
So it's sounding like, to me, Glenn, that these folks never had any plans on going back to the way things were. It sounds to me just like when they set us up by saying, look, guys, this is only temporary. We're going to have you guys go ahead and shut down your economy and wear all these masks and stuff just until we hit the curve. But all of that stuff that they said that they wanted to do initially, they never had no plans on going back to the norm. They're not even trying. They're not even investigating any ways to go back to the norm because, see, remember, they want us to imagine a new normal. How you going to do a great reset if you got to go back and then undo what you just undid by using this pandemic? See, so they don't want to go back to that. And they lied to us by trying to make us think that that's what they want to do. They lied to us by saying, you know what, if you go ahead and get this, you know what, in your arm, we might be able to go back to the way things were. But they don't want to do that. They're lying to us when they say, we only did this adjustment to the voter laws and stuff like that temporarily for COVID. But for some reason, those laws that worked all this time no longer work anymore. All of a sudden, all of those laws prior to COVID is racist now. I wonder. Let's continue.
Everything that they had done was unprecedented, one time only. So now these laws that are saying, okay, we're not doing that anymore, now it's being called restrictive. All the states are doing is bringing it back to where it was pre-COVID. They are just protecting what George Soros's cronies made vulnerable.
Oh, so this was all a part of the Great Reset. Messing with those voter integrity laws, shutting down that economy, forcing this vaccine, all of that was a part of a bigger diabolical scheme. And they don't want to go backwards, do they? All this climate change push, all of that. CNN getting busted talking about, our next focus is going to be climate change. I wonder why. Let's continue, though.
The call's goal, listen to this, was to unify companies that had been issuing their own statements and signing on to drafted statements from different organizations after the action in Georgia. This according to Sonnenfeld. Can I ask, is anyone on the right meeting with corporations? Is anybody on the right actually holding Zoom call meetings and saying, hey, look, we've got to start working together?
Good point.
They have infiltrated our boardroom, which was a goal of the Tides Foundation back in the 1980s. They have infiltrated our boardrooms, and now these corporations think they rule over us.
So we are looking at them forming an oligarchy. What? So let me understand this, y'all. They're trying to make it seem like all these companies really want to do is just be concerned about the people. But they're rejecting the votes of the people. Instead, they're saying, we're going to override all of that. Not only are we going to do that, but we're going to force other companies to do it because, if they don't do it, then, of course, they're racist. They're white nationalist companies. And then we'll put the pressure on all of these, conservative states and governors and stuff to do what we want them to do. We'll mess with their money. We'll mess with their bank account. We'll go ahead and force them to do this stuff, even if the people don't want it. Now, that sounds like collusion to me. That sounds like an oligarchy to me. That sounds like they are in cahoots with the liberal agenda and liberal party, the Democrats. Why didn't they bring in the Republicans? That sounds like we are getting the banana in the tailpipe. That's what that sounds like. So we got CNN, we got big tech, we got academia, we got entertainment, we got all the rest of the liberal media. We got the Democrat Party. We got Antifa. We got Black Lives Matter. We got all of these groups all together on one accord for the most part, all supporting the same type of policies and agendas. And yet we're supposed to believe that there's nothing fishy going on. Now, folks that are ignorant to what this looks like and what they're really trying to do will wake up one day without their freedoms and scratching their head going, how'd this happen? Why didn't nobody warn us? Well, that's why I'm here. Let's continue.
They think it's their responsibility, not the elected officials, but their responsibility. One Georgia-based executive talked about how the final version of Georgia's legislation, which Brian Kemp has said actually expands voting access, a claim that the left challenges, they say was much worse than expected. And it should serve as a warning to other chief executives as more states consider adopting their own voting bills.
Interesting. So now you know what they're saying is, even though we probably don't know all the details of the voter bill, it's much worse than we expected. And in the words of Joe Biden, it was like Jim Crow on steroids. It was like, Jim Eagle. That's what that was. Apparently, asking black folks to provide the basic minimum amount of proof that they are who they are is so bad that it reminds them of dogs attacking folks while they're in the line. It reminds them of water hose being sprayed all over these people. Yeah. It reminds them of people being beaten, killed just for their right to vote, all of those things. That's what that reminds them of, apparently, especially Joe Biden. So now it appears that they're using this over-the-top dramatic rhetoric to muscle all the rest of the corporations who aren't woke enough or on board with this liberal agenda to get on board. Sounds pretty diabolical to me.
Now, why is this? Should this be a warning to other chief executive officers? Why is that a warning?
Good point.
To CEOs? Wouldn't it be a warning to the American people? Are we just too dumb? And so we aren't going to support some of these things. And so the corporations, they're going to act as a secondary government, one that I don't know. I didn't elect the CEO of Merck.
Me either, Glenn. I didn't elect any of these people. And see, that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like that they don't trust the American people, just like the Democrats. They don't trust us to make good decisions for ourselves. What it is our decisions stand in their way. They know our decisions are sound, they're reasonable, they protect America's interests, they protect our citizens' interests, our safety, but it doesn't protect the global agenda, their selfish motives. Therefore, it's not that they don't trust us, the fact that they know that common sense voters have enough common sense to vote for good policies and reject bad ones. That right there in itself is a problem for the left. It's a problem for the Democrats. It's the reverse of what they're saying. It's not that they don't trust us to, support good policies. They trust us to support those good policies. But those good policies are throwing a monkey wrench in their bad agenda. And that is why those people are saying, let's use a false narrative that all of these folks who have common sense and are supporting good policies are doing it because they're racist. That's why. And we don't trust those white nationalists out there, all those white nationalist Republican governors and voters and stuff. We don't trust them. They don't have the people's best interests in mind. We do. So now we get the bubbleheads and the ignorant people to jump on board with these corporations thinking these corporations are supporting us and fighting against racism, but really they're supporting themselves and fighting for control over your lives as they align themselves with the Democrat Party. But the Democrat Party is pretending to say that, well, look, we're not the ones that are really going to take away your liberties and your freedoms. We're just going to use the corporations to do it. See? Because the corporations are woke. They get it. But the corporations are being motivated by the Democrat Party. Interesting. See how they all work together. See, you know what? You can give me an offering on the way out. Let's finish up.
They have one voice. Isn't this amazing that the people that are organizing this and are fine with it are the ones that say that corporations have no voice? It's the Republicans, it's the libertarians that say corporations can do what they want to do. But the ones that are saying corporations are evil, they keep people in poverty, they're the ones that are stepping to the plate and backing all of this. Why?
In typical Democrat fashion, that's what they do. Projection. All they do is simply project. They're saying, you know what? All of those big faces corporations are keeping you down as they donate to us. All of those big corporations that are, taking from the little man, using y'all up, are all our donors, and they support us. And we're fighting for the little man as we link up and support those big corporations with our policies, in regards to immigration, our policies in regards to allowing them to sit at the table and come up with ideas on how they can help assist us in our political agenda. Their policies in regards to, cheap labor and tax and all of that stuff. Yeah, Trump was digging in those corporations. That's why they didn't like him. They didn't like him. At least the corrupt ones didn't like him. The ones that were legit did like him because they were booming. But the ones that have made their money by lobbying and working one-on-one and hand-in-hand with the Democrat Party and other rhinos, they were upset about it. So you see how it works, guys? Oh, yeah. But those Democrats want us to think those guys are their enemies. Just like they want everybody to think that it's the Republicans and conservatives that's standing in the way of racial equality. But yet it's the Democrats that are standing in the way of it by bringing it up every day and saying that it's the major problem in America and y'all should all be afraid of it. Huh?
2 reasons. 1, the Great Reset.
Oh.
2, they know they'll be eaten by those people. If the Great Reset doesn't work, if the Great Reset isn't the answer, then maybe Marxism is, they would think. And if that happens, they're done. Corporations, Citibank, Coca-Cola, Delta, Microsoft, all have criticized Georgia's new election integrity bill. Major League Baseball, good, moved its All-Star game from Atlanta to Denver.
Now, did y'all hear that? All of these big old corporations seem to be really concerned about voter ID. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, the next time you guys go to that baseball game and they say, excuse me, sir, can we see your ID to get these tickets? No. Right there, you're being racist. Next time you go to get on that aerial plane and they ask for that ID, slap their hand, especially if you're black, slap their hand. And then you tell them, while I'm waiting to get on this plane, y'all need to go get me some bottled water and some snacks. Because I can't stand here this long waiting to get on that plane without having a drink of water and some snacks. You got some Oreos? Let's continue.
This all came from the pressure from the White House. Remember, the White House is saying corporations should do this, not the people. We've gone from BLM, which is another story I can't wait to talk to you about. We've gone from BLM, a supposed grassroots organization. We've gone from the left saying that the Tea Party wasn't legitimate because it was AstroTurf. It was funded by big money. We've gone from that to now corporations openly meeting and coordinating efforts to change laws.
Y'all see the diabolical scheme? You have no excuse if you're watching this video. See, because all it is a bait and switch. It's a redirection. It's the White House and the Democrats saying, no, we don't want to come across as obviously being Marxists or being tyrants or pushing socialism or pushing this globalist agenda on the people and infringing upon their voter rights and their liberties. So what we're going to do is we're going to partner up with big business to do it for us, to be that buffer between us. And we'll show them how they can benefit. And then, of course, they show us how we can benefit, and we work this thing together. Now, why are you talking to them instead of bringing your message and ideas and policies to the American public? That's what I want to know. So what they're doing is exchanging the will of the people and putting it in the hands of these major corporations who have the power and resources to manipulate governors, voters, businesses, other CEOs. They have the power to do that. And this is how you take over a whole country and you do real insurrection, not like the one that they said that took place, you know, that one day when those people came in and meandered about for a couple hours. I'm talking about when you got the power and the resources to change the whole landscape of a country, when you have infiltrated every area of society so that when folks oppose you, you can punish them, silence them, restrict them, take away their resources, take away their money, shame them, attack them, and possibly even jail them, which we're seeing now. Now you see the diabolical scheme. Hopefully you're not that woke to where you're asleep and don't see this message. Let's finish this up.
This is fascism, guys. Fascism is when government and corporations work hand in hand. That is fascism.
But Glenn, because all these ignorant people who don't know what real fascism is, they don't know what an oligarchy is, and all those things, they are thinking fascism. It's what Trump did. We support the First Amendment, which gives you freedom of speech. We support the Second Amendment, which keeps all the guns in your hands. All of the things that Trump supported was the opposite of fascism. Sovereignty of our country, making sure our workers were taken care of first, all of that, law and order. But no, fascists make up law and order as they go. They decide who's right, who's wrong. They call balls and strikes. They decide what the laws are and the policies are going to be. And it's all in the hands of a small group of people, not the people. They create maybe potentially the delusion of freedom and a democracy and a republic. But just like we learned this last voting season, it's an illusion. The thing that they pulled off, and I can't say it out loud, but you know what I mean. They pulled that mess off right out in the open and showed us that we're not living in a true republic. And the people, the will of the people isn't really that important to them. It is their agenda. And they're willing to do what they did openly to to the point where it's like, okay, we know all the folks with common sense seen that and know what really happened. But because we have all of these things put in place through our years and years of insurrection, y'all can't do nothing about it. See how it works, y'all? So the only reason they are able to get away with it, though, is because of the half of Americans that are ignorant to it and think they're fighting against all these injustices that they create in your head, but there aren't real problems. Therefore, you're supporting them in their agenda, not in your own agenda. But thank God you have Kevin from Kevin's Corner, who's here to make sense out of all that nonsense. So God bless y'all. Hopefully you will recapture and regain your common sense. Dang on it, because they done took it hostage if you don't see what's really going down. So God bless y'all. God bless America. And we'll see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. Check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. The link is below this video. If you click on it and put Kevin in a promo code, you'll get a 20% discount. And finally, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And if you'd like to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's links below this video to do that as well. Okay, God bless you and God bless America.